Did you know that poor circulation after 60 can quietly destroy not just your health, but your intimacy, your confidence, even your sense of being a man? It happened to Charles. He was 72, always dressed sharp, always showed up for others. But one afternoon in my office, he leaned forward and whispered, "Doc, I don't feel like a man anymore." His heart was fine, his labs were clean, but he felt tired, disconnected, and deeply alone. Here's the part no one told him. What he was experiencing wasn't just aging. It was a slow, silent breakdown in circulation, one that starts in your smallest blood vessels, not just in your legs or hands, but in the places that matter most for intimacy, for energy, for identity. This is something most doctors never explain. The quiet drop in nitric oxide and flexibility of your blood vessels doesn't just make you cold. It slowly chips away at your confidence, your relationships, and your ability to feel present. You don't lose desire, you lose the signal that tells your body to respond. But there's good news. In this video, you'll discover how one simple change, something already in your kitchen, can gently support better blood flow, restore responsiveness, and bring warmth back to places that feel quiet. It's not a supplement, not a drug. It's baking soda, used in a very specific way. And it's helped men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s reclaim something they thought was gone for good. Stick with me, because in just a few minutes, you'll hear how a 76-year-old widower found connection again, starting with a single glass in the morning. And trust me, you don't want to miss what made all the difference. If this sounds like something you or someone you love might need, hit that like button and subscribe, because what you're about to learn could quietly change everything. Now, let's start by understanding what's really going on inside your body after 60 and why most people miss the early warning signs. Sign number 1, the slow fade that steals more than your energy. Let me ask you this. Have you ever found yourself feeling colder than usual, even when it's warm outside? Or needing a nap by 2 p.m., no matter how well you slept the night before? Maybe you've noticed you're not in the mood as often, not just for intimacy, but even for simple conversation. You're not alone, and it's not just in your head. This is what I call the slow fade. It doesn't show up on your blood work. It won't make alarms go off, but quietly, day by day, it starts to erode your sense of self. That's what happened to Walter. He was 68 when he walked into my office and said something I'll never forget. "Doc, I don't feel like myself anymore. I'm here, but I'm fading." He wasn't in pain, he wasn't sick, but his hands were cold, his motivation was gone, and intimacy with his wife had become awkward. Not physically, but emotionally. This is the hidden cost of poor circulation, and most men never get told what's really happening. Here's the truth. As we age, the inner lining of our blood vessels, called the endothelium, starts to stiffen. That stiffness reduces nitric oxide production, and without nitric oxide, your blood vessels can't relax. Without relaxation, there's no smooth blood flow. And without blood flow, your energy drops, your desire fades, and your connection dims. The smallest vessels, the ones responsible for arousal, warmth, and even memory, are the first to close off. It's like the dimmer switch on your life gets turned down slowly until you don't even realize how dark it's become. But here's the thing. This decline is not permanent. Your body is constantly sending you signals, begging for support, and circulation is one of the few systems that can improve, even after 60, with the right attention. So what can you do? First, pay attention to those early signs: cold hands, low stamina, emotional distance. These are not just getting older, they are red flags. Second, stay with me, because in the next part, we'll explore a tool so simple, it's probably in your kitchen right now. And when used correctly, it can gently begin to reverse the slow fade and bring your spark back to life. Are you ready to learn what it is? Sign number 2, how something in your pantry can support blood flow and intimacy. If someone told you that something sitting in your kitchen right now could help improve your circulation, would you believe them? Most people wouldn't. They think of baking soda as a cleaning powder or something you use to make pancakes rise. But what if I told you it can also gently help support better blood flow? and in turn support your energy, your confidence, and even your connection in the bedroom. Let's go back to Harold. He was 67, a retired math teacher, soft-spoken, always skeptical. He tried everything, from over-the-counter supplements to prescription pills, even late-night gadgets that promised miracles. Nothing stuck. And then one day I asked him a simple question. Do you have baking soda in your kitchen? He looked at me confused. You mean for cookies? Yes, that baking soda. The kind you probably have in your pantry right now. You see, as we get older, the internal chemistry of our body starts to shift. Stress, processed foods, and natural aging can make our system more acidic. That acid buildup silently narrows blood vessels, reduces oxygen delivery, and makes our entire circulation system sluggish, especially in the smallest, most delicate vessels that affect warmth, arousal, and response. But sodium bicarbonate, the active ingredient in baking soda, can help. Taken in the right amount, it gently reduces excess acidity, supports more balanced pH, and helps blood move more freely. That means more oxygen reaching the places that need it, more energy in your muscles, and yes, more responsiveness where it matters most. When Harold started using it, just a quarter teaspoon mixed in water each morning, he didn't expect much. But after 2 weeks, his hands weren't cold anymore. He started sleeping better. And one day he said something quietly powerful. I feel more available, like I'm actually here again. This isn't a miracle cure. It's a small support, but sometimes that's all the body needs to begin healing. So here's the gentle challenge for you. Check your pantry. If you have baking soda, hold on to it. In the next part, I'll show you exactly how to use it safely, because doing it the wrong way can cause more harm than good. But for now, let's pause. Have you ever tried baking soda for your health? Or know someone who has? Leave a comment below, just one line. Your story might help someone else feel less alone. Now let's talk about the most common mistake people make with this simple tool and how to avoid it. Sign number 3. When good intentions go wrong and turn dangerous. You've heard the saying, if a little is good, more must be better. That might work for kindness or fresh air. But when it comes to baking soda and your circulation, more can be a serious mistake. I've seen it firsthand. Dennis was 70, fit for his age, played golf twice a week, always kept up with the guys. One day he saw an article online about baking soda improving blood flow. He didn't ask his doctor, didn't wait to learn more. He just started taking it. 1 teaspoon in the morning, 1 more at night. After all, it's just baking soda, right? Within a week, he was in the emergency room, bloated, dizzy. His blood pressure had spiked. He was confused. His heart raced. His kidneys were struggling. Here's why this happens. Baking soda is a powerful alkaline compound, not a gentle vitamin. It affects your internal chemistry, especially your pH balance, your sodium levels, and how your kidneys regulate fluid. As we age, those systems become more sensitive. Add too much sodium, even from something as natural as baking soda, and you can trigger water retention, high blood pressure, irregular heartbeat, and in serious cases, kidney strain or failure. And yet, most men never get warned. They see natural and assume safe. But your body after 60 is like a classic car. Beautiful, resilient, but requiring precision. You wouldn't pour just any fuel into a vintage engine. You shouldn't guess with your internal balance either. That's why the how matters just as much as the what. It's not about scaring you, it's about respecting your body. Used correctly, baking soda can be a gentle support for blood flow. Used incorrectly, it can push your body into distress. And let's be honest, you've worked too hard, lived through too much to risk a setback now. So in the next part, I'll show you exactly how I guide my own patients, the timing, the amount, and the one small trick that makes a big difference. Because when done right, the changes you feel won't just be physical, they'll be emotional, they'll be human. Let's make sure you're doing it right. Sign for 4. The real power isn't in the powder, it's in the pattern. At this point, you already know that baking soda, when used correctly, can support better blood flow, more energy, and even bring intimacy back to life. But here's something even more important. It's not what you do once. It's what you do consistently that creates real change. Let me ask you this. Have you ever tried something for your health, gave up after a few days, and wondered if it ever even had a chance to work? That's exactly what most men do, and it's the biggest reason they stay stuck. Frank was different. He was 76, widowed, quiet, didn't talk much about feelings. He just wanted to feel a little more present in the world, and maybe someday open his heart again. I gave him the same protocol I've shared here. 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda in a full glass of water, first thing in the morning, just once a day. No magic, no rushing. But Frank did something simple that changed everything. He did it every single day. By week 2, his hands were no longer cold. By week 3, he wasn't falling asleep after lunch. And by week 4, he said something I'll never forget. I didn't think I'd ever feel this kind of steadiness again, but here I am. He didn't just feel younger, he felt present. This is what most people miss. Your body doesn't need a miracle, it needs respect. And that starts with showing up every day, especially when the changes are quiet. So here's a challenge and an invitation. Would you be willing to try this for the next 7 days? 1 small glass each morning. Track how you feel, even if it's subtle. Stay hydrated. Be gentle with yourself. If you're ready, type "I'm in" the comments. Let's make this more than a video. Let's make it a commitment. Because consistency isn't just about discipline. It's about believing that your health is still worth showing up for. And next, we're going to explore the most surprising shift of all. What happens inside your mind when your body starts to come back to life? Sign number 5. When circulation improves, something deeper awakens. Let me ask you something simple, but serious. What if the thing you miss most isn't energy, but the feeling of being yourself again? See, when circulation begins to improve, even slightly, something unexpected happens. You don't just feel warmer, you don't just sleep better, you begin to feel present, more in your skin, more in your relationships, more in your life. That's what happened to Ray. He was 74, married for over 50 years, still loved his wife deeply, but hadn't reached for her hand in months. Not because he didn't want to, but because something inside him felt muted. He told me, "I feel like I'm watching my life from behind a window. I'm there, but not really there." Ray wasn't depressed. He wasn't broken. He was just disconnected from his body, his energy, his manhood. And that's what poor circulation silently does. It's not just physical, it's emotional, it's relational. When blood flow improves and nitric oxide starts to come back, it's not just the body that responds. The mind wakes up too. Men start making eye contact again. They sit longer in conversation. They reach out, literally and emotionally. Why? Because blood brings life to every corner of who you are. And that's the shift we rarely talk about. This isn't about chasing youth. It's not about six-pack abs or feeling like you're 30 again. It's about showing up with dignity, connection, and presence at 60, 70, even 80. So here's what I want you to remember. The goal isn't just better circulation, it's reconnection with your body, your partner, and your purpose. And that starts with small habits done consistently. But it's completed by the decision to believe you're not too old, you're not done, you're still here, and there's still more life to feel. In the final part, I'll share the story of one man who put all of this together. Baking soda, hydration, consistency, and mindset. And what happened next was quietly remarkable. And maybe, just maybe, it'll remind you that your best connection might still be ahead. Let me take you back to Frank. You met him earlier, 76 years old, widowed, quiet. He didn't come to me looking for a miracle. He came with a simple wish, to feel like myself again, even just a little. He followed the basics. A small dose of baking soda each morning, plenty of water throughout the day, and, most importantly, the willingness to stay consistent. But there was one more thing Frank brought to the table: patience. He didn't rush the process. He didn't expect fireworks. He simply showed up for himself, quietly, day after day. And slowly, almost without noticing, things began to shift. He started walking a little farther. His hands were no longer ice cold. He stayed awake through dinner and laughed more at the little things. But the moment that stuck with me was this. One afternoon, he sat across from me, leaned in slightly and said, "I didn't think I'd ever feel this kind of closeness again. But I do." That's what this video was always about. Not about baking soda, not even about blood flow, but about what happens when you stop writing yourself off, when you give your body and your life a second invitation. We've talked about how poor circulation silently chips away at strength, energy, and intimacy. How baking soda, when used correctly, can support pH balance and vascular flexibility. The danger of guessing and the power of getting it right. The forgotten magic of consistency, and the emotional shift that happens when you start to feel alive again. So now it's your turn. You don't need to do everything. Just start somewhere. One glass, one small commitment, one quiet yes to yourself. And if this message resonates with you, if it speaks to a part of you that's been quiet for too long, leave a comment below and tell me, what's one part of your life you'd like to reconnect with, starting today? Your energy, your clarity, your intimacy, your hope. This space is here for you, to listen, to encourage, to remind you, you are not too late, you are not too far gone, you are not done. And if you'd like to go deeper, the next video will show you 5 common foods that silently harm your circulation and what to eat instead. Trust me, it's the next piece of the puzzle. Go ahead, subscribe, and I'll see you there. Because the best version of your life after 60 might just be the one you create today.